Hello and welcome to Lagos Transportation Agenda. This is the show in which we engage influential and knowledgeable stakeholders on topical issues as well as current and emerging trends in the critical sector of transportation. We project the activities and projections of the Lagos State government as far as transportation is concerned. My name is Austin Iyan. Today we are looking at the state of vehicle inspection, insurance and environmental sanity in Lagos State. And who better to throw light on this topic than the director of the Vehicle Inspection Service of the Ministry of Transportation in Lagos State. I'm talking about the person of Engr Akin George Fashola, the director of the VIS. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Privileged to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Engineer Fashola and I will be discussing vehicle inspection, insurance, as well as environmental sanity in Lagos State after this time out. Please stay with us.
With regard to operations of the Blue Line in particular, we all know that we have publicized that the Blue Line is going to be an electrified rail system, and with the third rail system. What that means is that the electrification will be along the track. And for us, that means that it has no tolerance. If you want to cross from one side to the other, you must use the overhead bridges. This is a necessity for all of us to understand. We have, as a government, been very responsible, and we have fenced all along the alignment for the Blue Line to ensure that people do not cross it. But what we see time and time again is that people go there and they cut the fences and they run across. This is fine until we electrify. And we need to understand that this is not acceptable. Not because Lamata is saying don't do it, but because it is a matter of life and death. It is a health and safety issue. Anywhere in the world, this is the way it functions. And if we want to develop, we need to begin to understand that this is the way we're headed for a sustainable rail system that is good for emissions. Electrified rail is the way forward. And when your rail is electrified, then we must not interface with it. So we ask this, and we ask that the people be responsible and understand that it is mandatory that nobody crosses the tracks. We bother to put pedestrian crossings, there's access for the physically challenged, and therefore we have no reason to cross the track. So we just ask that the people please respect this and respect the rails, because if we don't, we will find ourselves in very, very dire straits indeed.
Welcome back on Lagos Transportation Agenda. And as I said in my intro, Engr Akin George Fashola is the director of the Vehicle Inspection Service, VIS, of the Ministry of Transportation in Lagos State. Let me start by asking, sir, for starters, the activities. Give us an overview of the activities of the Lagos State Vehicle Inspection Service, at least in the last 3 years since the inception of the present administration.
Thank you. Okay, so primary responsibility for vehicle inspection services to make sure of the sanity of the vehicles plying Lagos State roads. In that regards, We've looked into our process and procedures and trying to streamline how we deal with vehicle owners on Lagos State roads in order to maintain that sanity. So you are aware that we are going through a lot of construction phases to revitalize the roads for citizens or residents to use.
Yeah.
And as such, vehicle inspection services too have engaged in numerous endeavors to streamline our processes. One is automation of roadworthiness certification, safety cameras or cameras that enforce in order to reduce our capacity on the road to forestall what you want to say interactions with vehicle owners,
Yes.
altercations and things like that. So we have employed different aspects of technology that are more formidable in that aspect of day-to-day transactions.
Yeah.
Another thing that we have embarked on is the mandatory inspection of all vehicles that ply Lagos State roads. For private individuals, you have to come once a year to have your vehicle tested, and for commercial, it is twice a year.
Okay. What are the intervals? Twice a year?
Every 6 months.
Every 6 months, okay.
So every 6 months. And the main focus on that is as part of Mr. Governor's agenda for free flow of traffic. One of the key things that we've noticed during this endeavor is that vehicles that break down constitute part of that percentage that cause traffic. So if we as vehicle inspection service can help alleviate some of that by getting your vehicles inspected, at least telling you where you stand or where the vehicle stand in terms of its efficiency, it'll help mitigate some of those problems. So that is what the inspection is for, and mainly to safeguard people driving on the road. So when you are aware of the condition of your vehicle, you are more knowledgeable in terms of how you drive and where you drive to. So those are the things that we've embarked on in the last couple of years to tie into Mr. Governor's team's agenda on traffic management.
All right. When we talk about roadworthiness, apart from roadworthiness, number one, what makes a vehicle unroadworthy? Apart from maybe the state of the unroadworthy, and then apart from roadworthiness, that maybe you can even deduce from the surface just by looking or by testing. What other things do you look at for?
Well, roadworthiness can be a number of things, but the main, we have what we call minimum safety standards that we adhere to and which vehicles must comply to. So we're talking about good brakes, functional headlights, turn signals left and right, your side mirrors to see so you can maneuver properly, the tires, your suspension joints, the shock absorbers, your windscreen front and back, and general, very critical, the emissions that your vehicle is putting out, and then just the general body shape of the vehicle. Those are the minimum safety standards that you need to meet. Also, wipers for rainy season, they're very critical. So those are the minimum safety standards that we apply to when you come for inspection. It could be a number of other things, such as handbrakes. Your steering is leaking fluid if it is a hydraulic system. If it's an electric one, it's not metering right. So there are a number of things, but we maintain that minimum standard. So that is it in a nutshell.
All right. Let me take you up on emissions, because I was going to talk about that later concerning environmental sanity.
Absolutely.
What do you require that a vehicle owner do about emissions, and what are the minimum standards for?
Okay, so there's not much a vehicle owner can do in that aspect, because it's down to how the engine is performing.
Yes.
So what we do is we have a standard that's given to us by Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA. And so there's a minimum number that you have to meet. So when you bring the vehicle, we the probe to check that the vehicle is within that range that has been set by Environmental Protection Agency. And really what that boils down to is how efficient your vehicle is running. So things like your tune-up, your spark plugs, is the fuel clean or dirty?
Yes.
Your air filter, is it producing what it's supposed to be producing? And or a bunch of other things that work together to bring down that emissions to acceptable levels. So it's not one particular thing that the driver can do. It's just a habit that they have to form in terms of maintaining their vehicle on a regular and scheduled basis.
All right. Okay, it's Lagos Transportation Agenda. I've been talking to Akin George Fashola, Director of the Vehicle Inspection Service. We'll continue this conversation after this timeout. Please stay with us.
Great economies are built on good transportation network. This is why Lagos State Government through LAMATA has been working tirelessly to enhance the state's transport infrastructure and implement the Strategic Transport Master Plan (STMP) for Lagos and create a world-class transport network for the metropolis. The STMP would deliver 6 rail lines, 1 monorail, 14 BRT routes, 26 water transport routes, 3 cable car routes, and several road interventions to promote the integration of the transport modes. When all these projects are completed, there will be lower emission, leading to better health for all, lower road crashes, better quality of life, and faster economic growth. With the BRT already running in some corridors, jetties being upgraded, and rail line from Okokomaiko to CMS coming on board soon, life of Lagosians in the face of Lagos is changing every day. A healthier and more prosperous Lagos is making, and LAMATA is driving it. LAMATA, keeping Lagos moving.
If you're just joining, is Lagos Transportation Agenda with Engineer Akin George Fashola, the Director of the Vehicle Inspection Service in Lagos State. He's been in this job for 3 years, since 2019. And so, Engineer, give me an overview of the percentage, the average percentage of roadworthy vehicles in Lagos State, and whether there's been an increase or decrease as we speak, and what do you attribute the trend, the increase or decrease?
Okay, so that's a very tricky question because, and I'll tell you why. Because of the peculiarity of Lagos State, vehicles come in and go out.
Yeah.
So trying to tie down one actual number for you might be a little bit on the difficult side.
Yeah.
But what we've noticed over the 3-year period that I've been here is the vehicles keep increasing. So, but what we are mostly worried about are residents within the states that apply Lagos on a daily basis.
Yeah.
The other aspect that we are worried about, or we concern ourselves with, are articulated commercial vehicles that come in and out of the states. The numbers are huge, so we try to focus on that aspect of it. Every once in a while, you have, I stand to be corrected, not every once in a while, we have a lot of vehicles that come from out of states too. You know, Lagos is a major hub for virtually everything, and the transport sector of it takes a huge toll on our roads, and we try to keep up to date with that. So the changes, I would say, since the 3-year period I've been here, we can average out to a 21% increase each year, year on year.
Yeah. Okay.
So thereby.
That's a positive.
It is a positive number. So, and it will continue to grow as long as a lot of people feel the state is prosperous. It's good for us, but also tedious in terms of managing that volume as we go on.
Exactly. Now, unfortunately, one of the challenges, which I'm sure you can testify to in your work, is that there is this culture of motorists, vehicle owners, who seem to think that such safety precautions as using seat belts and so on is an inconvenience, some sort of inconvenience or distraction. Rather, they do not see it as a civic duty designed to protect lives. And so that culture is still a problem, especially when nobody is there to enforce, or nobody is forced to forcing people to use those appliances. A friend of mine even talked about, he is a kind of road marshal, and so he apprehends a vehicle owner without seatbelts. And when he asked the man why he's not using seatbelts, the man said it's not in our culture to use seatbelts. And he told the man, well, it's not even in our culture to drive at all in the first place. So what is the VIS and by extension the government ecosystem as a whole doing to inculcate that culture so that awareness becomes a much more regular thing than, say, enforcement?
Okay, it's a good question. So, as part of VIS primary responsibility, we also certify and what's the word I'm looking for? We regulate driver's license.
Yes.
So it is in that aspect that we engage with potential drivers on the importance of wearing a seatbelt, doing the necessary safety measures that you're supposed to do. It is counterproductive when we apprehend them on the road, because to do that, you virtually have to stop every vehicle. And that's not a small feat.
Especially when you're trying to automate.
Yes. So we tend not to go in that direction, although for the foreseeable future, we will employ technology in terms of cameras, which we are already in the process of doing, or we've started already. It's a possibility we can extend the fines for not wearing your seatbelt, because the camera can tell at a distance, even if you're driving at speeds that exceed normal speed limits, a camera can still tell that. But on a normal basis, we try to engage them when they come for either the renewal of the driver's license or when a fresh applicant comes to procure a driver's license. It's very difficult to do that when vehicles are moving, and part of Mr. Governor's agenda is the free flow of traffic, and when you have to stop everybody that's committing an offense in terms of seatbelt and any other thing, it tends to slow that down. So our enforcement procedure currently does not focus on that entirely on the road. We have more pressing need for roadworthy cars that can cause accidents.
Exactly.
Although not wearing your seatbelt too qualifies as
more
that,
of a human
but
thing.
we focus more on that, and then the engagements, the interaction in terms of seatbelt awareness is done more at the driver's license level.
Okay. All right. You mentioned your collaboration, say, with LASEPA on the issue of emissions and all that. So let me take you up on that. And I have a double barrel question, basically. So you have this collaboration with other relevant agencies at the subnational state level, which I'm sure is satisfactory, perhaps, and though I'm sure there's room for improvement.
Always.
However, Lagos is a subnational body, as I mentioned, so we have also federal bodies. What's the level of synergy between you and the federal bodies?
Federal body is fantastic, especially Federal Road Safety Corps. We have a good rapport, and we work simultaneously on many occasions, and we are currently still doing that, especially in the realms of what I discussed before on articulated vehicles.
Yes.
Those articulated vehicles have a specific route in which they ply, and vehicle inspection services, as well as federal road safety, engage in activities to try and combat the menaces that they create as they move around that corridor. So the level of cooperation is always there. It serves both parties because safety is a key word in that aspect, and we will continue to do that and even look to expand it as we go forward. We also collaborate on the driver's license as well.
Okay.
So it's part of the measures that we do in terms of the instructors as well as the recipients of the license. So we work together on all aspects of vehicle activities in Lagos State.
All right. Just on a last note, you just look at the camera, talk to your people on what they need to do as individuals to make sure that sanity on our roads.
It's simple. Every vehicle owner, every driver on our roads need to understand that the road is a shared asset, and it is not only your responsibility, but it is all our responsibility to make sure that we drive in a safe manner. And first and foremost, if you are not sure of the vehicle that you are going to drive, please, please, please leave it at home. 9 times out of 10, when things happen, it doesn't always happen to just one person.
True.
It has a ripple effect. So we are trying to mitigate that as best as possible. All this process and procedures is not for our own well-being, but for the public at large. So don't see it as an obstruction of your freedom to move. No, actually it is not. It is for us to make sure you get to where you are going on time and in a safe manner. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well said. And that has been the size of our show today. I've been talking to Engr Akin George Fashola, Director of the Vehicle Inspection Service of the Ministry of Transportation in Lagos State. Thank you for watching. I hope you join me next week time on this channel for yet another interesting discourse on the Lagos transportation agenda. Until then, this is Austin Yan saying stay safe. Bye-bye.